Ford's electric car sales have reached a new monthly record. This is good news, my friends. Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Welcome to all the new subscribers. And if you'd like to become a member of the channel, I'll put a link in the description below. We've just seen Ford's electric car sales for November, even though November only has just finished. And Ford actually sold 11,000 fully electric cars in November. It sold 85,000 electric cars so far this year. Actually, Ford was America's second best-selling EV brand behind Tesla in November. That's in spite of the fact that, let's be totally honest here, Ford's EVs are not cutting edge at all at this point in time. They're just okay. They're not bad. If you bought a Ford EV, I wouldn't say, haha, you bought a Toyota EV, you're a sucker. I mean, they're all right. They're okay. They're just certainly not leading edge, not class leading. And I think when people think of an EV, they don't think, I'm aspiring to buy a Ford electric car. Now, I do think that'll change. I think Ford are actually working on some pretty impressive technology. And based on the new Ford SUV, the Explorer in Europe, its efficiency is amazing. If Ford was selling the Ford Explorer EV in the United States, I reckon these numbers, 11,000, would be double that or more. Just seeing the recent testing that Ford Explorer EV in Europe, seeing it get the same efficiency as the Tesla Model Y, it's exceptionally good. But even without that car, Ford still sold a record number of EVs in the third quarter. It's appearing to carry a lot of that momentum into the fourth quarter, which is great news. Ford's electrified vehicle sales, as in hybrids, EVs, and plug-in hybrids, were 258,000 in the first 11 months of this year. EV sales, they were in November alone just under 11,000. That's a 21% increase compared to November of last year. So which models are they selling? Well, really just the three that we're talking about here for this video's purposes, and the Mustang Mach-E, the Ford F-150 Lightning, and the E-Transit. Well, purchased 6,000 electric Mustangs. So Ford Mustang, 6,000 sales. Now this is just, by the way, this doesn't include Australia or Europe or anywhere else. This is just for North America, just for the United States. So this was the best ever sales month for the Ford Mustang Mach-E in the US. Yeah, 40% more than the same month in November of 2023, a 40% rise. The media keeps saying EV sales have slowed down in America. That's not factually true. In fact, EV sales have grown this year by around 10% versus last year. So how many Ford Mustang Mach-E's has Ford sold in the US this year? They've sold 45,000. So not a huge number, but considering the car, to be honest, is maybe not mediocre, but it's not great. It's all right. I think to sell 45,000 is a pretty good result. I mean, imagine if it had, say, similar technology to a Hyundai Ioniq 5. Let's say it could charge 350 kilowatt charging. Let's say it had a NACS plug already. So let's say they already could use Tesla's NACS plugs, Tesla's supercharger network. Just, as soon as you bought it, you drive it in, you drive it away, you can charge straight in Tesla's supercharger network. You've got potential for 350 kilowatt charging, and maybe they were using some pretty decent batteries. They're using okay batteries, but let's say they're using a higher energy density battery, giving them, say, 400 miles of range. Some of the competition are doing that. I think the Ford Mustang Mach-E would sell quite well. But, it's a little bit heavy. It's not particularly efficient. It's all right. What this means, though, even in spite of what I just said, it's still only trailed the Tesla Model Y as the second best-selling electric SUV in 2024. Now, of course, these sales figures are peanuts in comparison to the numbers we're seeing in China. But to be fair, there is nearly 1.4 billion people in China. And also, 55% of all cars sold in China in the last couple of months were electric or plug-in hybrids, but predominantly electric. So here are the numbers for November 2024. 5,940 Mustang Mach-E's were sold, 3,643 Ford F-150 Lightnings, E-Transit, the Ford E-Transit, which is a pretty good electric van, 1,240 for a total of 10,821. Let's just call that 11,000. Year to date, 45,000 Mustang Mach-E's, 28,000 Ford F-150 Lightnings, and 11,500 or 11,600 Ford E-Transits for a total of 85,000. Looks like Ford will probably sell around about 100,000 fully electric cars in 2024. Now remember, Ford said they'd sell 500,000. They did say that. Ford CEO said that. You can look that up. He said we'll sell 500,000 in 2024. No, they won't. Now, could they have done that? I think they could have. Put it this way, right? Let's take the Xpeng G6 or the Zeekr 7X, put a Ford badge on them, yeah, and see how they sell in America. The Mach-E was introduced in 2021, and it's been around for a while, right? It's due for some improvements. That said, I mean, Ford have been improving it, and they're not like idiots at Jaguar who brought out the I-Pace, wins World Car of the Year. They do nothing to that thing. I mean, nothing. Ridiculous. I mean, Ford have made some changes. They have made some software upgrades. They haven't made big changes though. It could do with some decent changes, such as, like I said, faster charging, better batteries. Anyhow, the Mach-E is extremely affordable, and that's one of the key reasons why they're selling. They start at $36,500. I mean, if you apply the EV incentive to it, I don't think that model actually gets the EV incentive because it uses lithium iron phosphate batteries from CATL, Chinese car company. But if you go the higher spec model, which is around 41,000, get the EV incentive, brings that down to around $34,000, $34,000. That's a good deal. Now, would I personally get that over an alternative? No, probably not, but it's still a good deal, especially if you're a Ford fan. One of the improvements Ford made to the Mustang Mach-E is all of them now get heat pumps for better efficiency. So that has improved range in winter in particular, and to be honest, range period. But just you'll notice more of a range difference in winter than what you would have otherwise for the rest of the year. Ford also added automatic lane changes on their latest Blue Cruise version. Some models also have more range as well. The E-Transit has been getting record sales numbers. Ford said its sales volumes are already up 4 times this year compared to last year, and it's clearly America's best-selling van because there's not really much of an alternative, to be honest. Ford has sold 11 like I said, nearly 11,600 E-Transits. November sales were 1,240. So good numbers, but I think give it a few years and the Ford E-Transit will be much better. It'll have much faster charging than what it has today. It's still pretty slow charging speeds, and it'll have a lot more range. I reckon they're going to give it double the range in 3 or 4 years' time, and then people will be going, hell yeah, that's a real good alternative. I'm going to get one of those. It's compelling. I'm compelled to buy this instead of a gasoline or diesel van. That's when the tipping point will happen for electric vans. The F-150 Lightning had, well, it's not the best-selling electric truck in America anymore. That's the Tesla Cybertruck, but still not too bad. There was a 1.7% increase in F-150 Lightning deliveries in November of this year versus November of last year. Yeah, Ford actually did sell, though, 28,300 F-150 Lightnings, which is growth of 40% versus the same, the first 11 months of this year versus the first 11 months of last year. 40% growth. That's a good number. And I maintain, in the face of fierce criticism, for some reason, even though the CEO of Ford agrees with me, that if Ford had a review of this truck with good charging speeds, it's got a big battery, yeah, really big battery. Now, if you've got a small battery and your car charges at 150 kilowatt, not a problem. That's fine. You've got a big battery and your car charges it, or your pickup truck charges at 150 kilowatts, too slow. And Ford CEO, he has admitted that that is one of the issues with the F-150 Lightning. I believe when that's changed, Ford will get more buyers. I believe they'll also increase the range as well. That said, a lot of Americans don't realize that there is good alternatives to gasoline-powered old-school F-150s. The electric version, in a lot of ways, is much better. Intriguingly, though, Ford has actually sold 67,666 F-150 hybrids. That gives you some context on those sales numbers. about, what's that, 6-1. 6-1 of the hybrid versus the fully electric version. Guys, personally, I'd much prefer the electric version. So what are your thoughts on Ford's success? I mean, when I say success, it's success with a caveat, right? These numbers are decent. They're certainly an improvement over what we expected a few months ago, but still nothing compared to what Ford was saying they would deliver. Let's hope that changes pretty soon, because it kind of feels like America's falling behind China pretty drastically. And, if consumers buy more electric cars, businesses can invest more into the technology in America rather than falling behind it. And to be honest, even if you're a Trump fan, which whatever, I've got no problems with that. I don't care if you're a Trump, Biden fan, whatever. You can be what you want. Let's just be cool with this stuff, right? Even if you are, then you still want technology to improve. You still want your car companies to innovate and get better. If you're shutting out Chinese electric cars or Chinese products, it makes you isolated, and it makes you feel like, oh, I'm in a confident position, don't need to innovate, just keep making the same old shit we've been making for the last 30 years. These old V8 engines, these V6 twin turbos, how much better are they than the engines from 20 years ago? They're not much better, are they? Barely any better. They just keep churning out this crap, and we don't have to worry about what else is going on outside of America because it won't affect us. Well, it does. American automakers won't survive without a global car market. They can't just survive selling just to Americans. That's what could happen. That's the risk here. So hopefully more Americans buy more EVs next year, and that will help companies to innovate more when it comes to EVs. Thanks for watching.